Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Friends. We are two friends once again who like art. I'm Coen, and I'm
I'm
joined by
Opalia.
yes. And today, what are we talking about? What are we even talking about?
We're talking about art tutorials. You know, the thing that show you how to art.
Yeah, and the only thing, nothing else.
Definitely.
Tutorials every day, all day. There's nothing else. You can, like, when the cavemen first started, they couldn't draw until uh
They saw tutorial.
a deer showed them how to draw.
Alright, so Coen, we both know what art tutorials are, but where can we find those?
Well, I think most, like basically all popular social media sites have some form of art tutorials. Some are a bit more limited, some are a bit more freed, and some are generally, they're all about, I wouldn't say they're the same level of useful, but they're all useful in their own way. So
Yeah, they're like a way of usefulness.
Yep. There's like quick ones on TikTok, like you mentioned to me lately. 4-hour instructional videos on YouTube. Quick slides on Instagram showing you the process, and some stuff on Twitter. All sorts of stuff.
True. What do you think? What is your favorite kind of tutorial, actually, of those?
The 4-hour instructional videos, because I'm at a point where all those fun, like those Instagram tutorials and TikTok tutorials, they're like quick tips. I'm like, yeah, cool. That's nice, good surface level. But where can I actually learn this stuff? You know, to me they just seem like pointers into a direction rather than showing me how to actually do it and showing me how to practice doing it. You know.
That's true, but like, I think those quick tips on Instagram do have some things that you haven't learned, which don't need to be packed in like a 4-hour instructional video. There's an artist on Instagram that I really love. I don't know if she has anything else because I only use really Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Her name is Kantakero, I think it's pronounced. If not, I'm sorry. She has like a 10-slide tutorial on how to make anime screenshots, and that's like extremely like helpful for people who just want to give the vibes of anime screenshots, but you know.
That's again a very specific thing, so you don't need a 4-hour tutorial for that.
Exactly.
Like you can do a 4-hour tutorial on that, but at that point you're just talking about the same information over and over again. So it isn't needed really, and that to me seems like a bit more of like again like a quick tip, like a quick trick for some post-processing stuff and to get a certain vibe off of it, you know. But it doesn't.
But it's not only post-processing, actually. It's like a full-on process. Like, it starts with the sketch and finishes with the effects.
Yeah, but I know.
But there's also like tips on the line art, tips on the coloring.
Yeah, it talks about like parts in the process, but it isn't like a complete process. Like it might give you tips on some line art stuff, but it assumes that you already know how to make line art and stuff. That's what I'm assuming.
Exactly not.
Exactly not.
But I think like the quick one to just describe how to do a certain thing is also important. Like, as you said, you shouldn't put it into like 4 hours because it would repeat itself. So that there is an importance to Instagram tutorials. But there are also like quick tutorials on TikTok where they, for example, show, hey, if you're an acrylic painter or an oil painter, you can actually wrap your brushes into aluminum foil and put it into the fridge, and overnight it won't dry out. So that's awesome. Like those tips. They are quick, but not really art related in the way that they show you how to draw. It's more like how to preserve stuff. And I also think those are important.
Otherwise, you'll have to buy new brushes every week, which is kind of a shame.
see, that would have been helpful to know beforehand.
Mm.
But I think quick tutorials are good for like easier topics, like to scrape on the surface. And I think overall I like quick tutorials more because overall they get something done like quickly. They are not like talking around like, I don't know, here, this is how to draw a tangent line. Then they explain the full story of tangent lines, which I don't want to know because I just want to know what a tangent line is and how do I preserve that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't really like lengthy tutorials, because they go too much into the story. I'm more a person that needs to be like, here's that thing, that's how you do it.
Yeah, so you need something quick
Exactly.
and like fun, because I feel like that's most people nowadays, like, don't want to sound like a boomer, but like in general on social media the attention span's a lot lower, you know.
That's not it with me. I hate listening for like 8 hours to just know how to draw one thing.
It's the same with me when I'm on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and I get bored at the second slide, I'll just scroll past it. That's just because you scroll past hundreds of things, tens, hundreds, whatever's, you know. So honestly, you really sometimes don't have the attention span to go into depth with tutorials.
That's true, but that's not the problem with me. It's more that I want to learn how to draw. I don't want to know the history of drawing because I just don't feel like it. Like, if I want to learn about history, I can just go to my art class, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get better without having to wait for 8 hours until they finally show me how to get better.
True. But I feel like a good instructional video just stays on topic, because some topics in art, 4 hours isn't even enough. You need to spend like hundreds on it to fully understand it, and even then you're like, oh yeah, this is one thing, but then there's another, you know.
Yeah, but like,
some
who could
topics are just way too deep to explain in a quick tutorial, which is fine, you know. You don't need to teach someone how to paint like Sargent in a couple of slides on Instagram. That's true, but not like, necessary.
See, I don't really like those tutorials because they show you like one thing and one thing only. Now you know how to draw that one specific thing, like how to draw Kaneki Ken from Tokyo Ghoul. Ha, I got it. And then it's like, wow, you can draw that one character, one specific character, and one specific pose every time. What are you going to do with that now?
Nothing.
Exactly. I think those are like for funsies, if you ever want to like make an anime screenshot on your wall and just need a tutorial on how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, those are nice. But overall, I think basic tutorials that show you like, hey, how do I draw like gems? And they show you like a more in-depth way of how to draw those gems. I think those are better in the sense that you can have like one specific thing, but you can draw it in every way, shape, or form, because it's mostly about like the how to shade, how to form, how to highlight, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I personally love those longer tutorials, like 30 minutes, 2 hours, doesn't matter. Because when they explain the history and when they explain how it works, I can wrap my head around it. I can do some more research into it. I can do it a whole bunch of times in a whole bunch of different ways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just put the highlight here. I'm thinking like, okay, where's the light source? How does the light reflect? How does the drop shadow work? Where's the ambient occlusion? Where's the dang ambient occlusion? All that sort of stuff. And then you can even use the stuff you learned in there on another thing. That's like once you know how metal reflects, you're probably going to be better at doing plastic, because plastic also reflects. It's just a lot rougher in a way.
Depends on what kind of plastic, but we're not going on that tangent. Haha.
You get what I mean.
Yeah, true. But I think in a way those tutorials are bad for people with a very short attention span like me, as I said most of the time before. I think it's better to have for two different ways on YouTube tutorials. Ones that are 15 to 30 minutes long that just explain one bit of that basic thing, and then they're now you try to do that thing, and they slowly get you to that point, take you on the hand and get you there. Because I think those kinds are also great for beginners and great for people that just don't want to listen to the history like me. Because I cannot do anything with the history. Sure, I can do the research, as you said, but I didn't get the second worst grade in history for nothing.
Nice.
But really, I couldn't do that because I don't like doing research.
I do, personally. I think that's just another way that people differ with learning. So really, no one's gonna learn the same way. That's just how it is. No one's gonna draw the same way. No one's gonna learn the same way. So find what works for you.
You know what I actually really like, which is great for people like you, also for people like me?
Mm-hmm.
Udemy or Skillshare classes that are pretty much showing you 1 minute video explaining something, and you can either watch the full basic thing that goes 40 minutes overall, or you just watch one minute video whenever you have time in between, because they have a beginning and a conclusion. So within those 1 to 2 minutes, you get a little bit further to what you want. But you also get a little bit of information too, art history, or you can skip those, which I think is nice. Also not sponsored.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
Nope. It's actually sponsored by Audible.
Oh yeah, I have never taken a Skillshare or Udemy class, but I have taken some online courses with very quick videos. And I like them.
Right?
But the difference is that they most of the time provide, from the ones that I've followed, extra written material and homework. So it's the exercises you can do to improve at the specific subject they touched upon, and a written explanation that goes a bit more in depth. It might even be the same information, just phrased differently, and that helps me a lot. I've been doing one course for a while, and I feel like one of the main reasons why why I'm having such an easier time understanding that one remembering that one compared to others is because I first read the written material, then watch the video they have on it, which is a 10, 15, 9-minute video, whatever works for that topic. And then they have homework, which is draw 2 pages of it. And then I'm okay, yeah, now I understand it, I remember it. I probably won't have to relearn this anytime soon, because I got a good grip of it this time.
That might be something, but at the same time, for example, I'm working on the Scott Harris course, and I think I have only done one homework.
You have no idea how much ads I get for that course. I get so many ads for that course.
Same. Every time. Whoa. That was scary.
Anyhow.
Mostly I love having shorter tutorials, for example, for a situation right now where I need to do commissions in between, where I can just watch a tutorial and then go back to commissions, for breaks in between. And I cannot watch a video that goes 4 hours and pause it in between, because then I forget what happened before.
When something's structured to be split up into parts, it tends to be easier to follow than a 4-hour instructional video. Then again, something that's structured to be split up into parts is never going to flow quite as well as just one cohesive big chunk, a tutorial,
That might be true, but it's like it's not supposed to flow. It's supposed to teach you stuff, you know. It's just supposed to like be watched in those parts. So for what it is supposed to be, it's good.
I think, for me at least, not sure how it's for you because you're like intuition 100 or whatever. But when I watch a tutorial, like especially a quick and useful one, I tend to forget the stuff immediately. I tend to just, like, if I don't apply it to anything, or if I didn't look it up in the first place and I just found it somewhere and I just watched it one time, I am not going to store the information at all. I don't watch a video on how to draw gemstones and then, like, if I watch a video on how to draw gemstones, then don't draw gemstones after. I will not know how to draw gemstones. And it's one thing just watching the tutorial, understanding what they talk about, and getting it, you know. But then it's another thing of actually being able to do the damn thing, you know, understanding how to do it and actually being able to do it.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that it's always important, like, to watch a tutorial and then at least try a bit of what you've learned.
Yeah, sure.
Either while you do the tutorial or afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think? Is it better to do it while you're recording, or no, not while you're recording.
Watching.
While you're watching or after you've watched it? Like, what's better for you or easy?
This might just be me elongating everything unnecessarily, but I've done it one time and it's helped me then. I haven't done it much. Otherwise, like, normally when I'm watching tutorials, I just pay full attention to the tutorial and then I start drawing. Or it depends. If it's like a 4-hour video, I'll draw in the meantime because it's a bit slower and I can just draw more easily. But if it's a very fast one, then I have to pay full attention to it. But personally, what worked for me one time very well is I watched it, paid complete attention to it, then just rewinded it and drew while it's played again.
But wouldn't that be like 8 hours of a video?
No, but like of course it doesn't work for longer ones, but just I did it with like a 15-minute video, so it was just 30 minutes of stuff, and it was quite useful because you know what he's going to talk about, or she, you know what it's going to talk about, you know, and you can just draw along, and it's a good reminder too, because when you're drawing it and with just some music or a different video in the background, you're like, it helps that he's actually talking about the stuff you're drawing in the background, because then you're like, oh yeah, this thing and this thing, I have to keep that in mind. All this stuff requires brain energy, you know.
Sounds like something I should try.
It's a good thing to try, and again, don't dismiss it outright. Just try it, just attempt it. It might work really well for you, it might be absolute garbage and it should have never existed, but for someone else it might be perfect, you know.
Well, it isn't garbage that shouldn't exist if you have seen that it worked for you.
Yeah. Like, getting overly dramatic because this is on all sorts of different platforms, but also YouTube, and YouTube really loves unnecessarily dramatic stuff.
This is a video about art tutorials, not a YouTube roast. Please keep that in mind, Coen. Thanks.
Never. So what are your thoughts of that? How do you tend to approach tutorials?
It depends on what kind of tutorial. If it's like a picture tutorial, I just watch it like 2 or 3 times and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try that out later. And then when I try it out, I look at it like picture for picture and pretty much like follow it step for step. And after that, I pretty much, when I kind of figured out how to draw or how to do the steps, I write them down to make it easier for me later to get the process right. Until, you know, I have it like embedded in my brain.
Yeah,
And
I think writing the information down is also very useful because that solidifies it more in your memory. So I might do that as well.
right, but I like write it only shortly to get like the most information
Yes.
and the least amount of text.
So like some quick notes, basically.
Mhm.
That's useful. I do that sometimes.
For example, basic sketch, no line art, block in colors, and so on and so on. That's literally how
So on
short
and
I
so
keep
on.
it.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much draw like the gemstone step for step. To show it to myself because those 10th frame things on Instagram pretty much make it harder for you to work around it because they most of the time don't even have like text next to it. They're just like not helpful at all and much shorter. So I keep it like instead of 10 steps, I make it to 20 steps and show the in betweens.
That's useful.
Yeah. And the last thing that I do then is pretty much draw different shapes with that same thing.
So like
But with,
apply
like,
it to different things and do it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when I watch tutorials on how to do stuff, let's say I watched a tutorial on how to draw trees, then while they explain, I pretty much draw the tree and like have the video, for example, on my phone next to my drawing tablet so I can see what's happening while I'm drawing. So I can go with them step for step, so pretty much skipping one of your steps and immediately going into the nitty-gritty. But I honestly think that's like at the same time helpful and kind of pulling my leg because as you said, you first get the information, then you draw with it. But normally after I've watched the tutorial, I just have silence and then try it again. And if it doesn't work, I just rewatch the tutorial and do that again. I don't know. It consumes actually more time than if I would have done it in your way. That's why I said I would love to try out like what you were doing.
Yeah, and I think the approach of watching it, doing it, doesn't work, watch it again, doing it, and then that repeatedly also helps a lot. I feel like even, like not even drawing, but just thinking about it afterwards really helps, you know? Just thinking about why you need to do it like that and how it works like that, you know?
Yeah,
and
I
how
get
you
what
could
you mean.
apply it to different things.
Yes.
Just think about it. Think about art even when you're not drawing. That's how you become good at it.
Just like, hey, can you help me carry this rock? And then you just imagine the life story of that rock.
I mean, that's more writing, I'd say.
Yeah, but imagine like it in pictures, like no text, just seeing what's happening.
Yeah, fair enough. Just illustrating a whole comic.
Instead of your
Illustrating a
head.
wordless comic about a rock.
The best one gets posted on our Instagram page.
Yes, do it.
If we have Twitter by then, it also will get posted on Twitter.
And retweeted.
Yes, also it will be getting a Wattpad story. No.
We will advertise it on the television for the 5 people that still watch television.
Grandma, can you see me?
Yes, honey. Very good job.
The funny thing is my grandma actually doesn't like the TV because she just thinks it's like the work of the devils that there are little humans trapped inside of them, which I think is at the same time hilarious and sad.
Yeah, kinda. Oh well.
Then again, she's a little bit senile, but that doesn't matter.
Let's not talk about that one.
But you know what we can talk about?
Secret. What can we talk about?
How much mileage do we get with what kind of tutorial?
Ooh, nice transition.
Thank you.
So, like we talked about it earlier, but you need to put in mileage from after watching a tutorial if you're not going to do anything with it. Why did you even watch it in the first place?
Exactly, like tutorials are made to show you how to do stuff, obviously.
So do the stuff.
Exactly, like don't watch a tutorial on how to, I don't know, wash dishes and then don't wash your dishes. You lazy person.
Oh,
I look at you, Coen.
Way to call me out. I did the dishes yesterday. Dang it. But I think the worst way to follow a tutorial is to watch it, say, okay, guess I know how to do that now, and then never use it again.
True.
It's like watching even if it's a 4-hour eye tutorial, if you don't draw any eyes afterwards, if you don't think about it afterwards.
How can you make a tutorial that goes 4 hours just about eyes?
Very easily, trust me.
My eye is twitching from that.
They can talk about a whole bunch of stuff. How the eye is made of a circle, but it's not really a circle, more of an inorganic shape, the perspective of it, form, structure, skull.
Shush. We have 30 minutes, not 40,000.
Yeah, this just turned into a 4-hour eye tutorial. You're welcome. No, there's a whole lot of stuff you can get into, and you can look at master copy. You can look at the masters, how they did it, or like at other artists in the tutorial. Whole bunch of stuff.
It's not quite tutorial-esque. It's more something that came into my mind. Let's say you just have watched like all the tutorials that you want to watch, but there's like something missing inside of you. Like you just don't feel like you have done everything you could in a way, but you just don't find a tutorial anymore that hasn't covered already what you want to cover. Then I think a great way to go further is also to look at art books from like artists that you love. You know?
Yeah. Or just this is a very bad habit of mine. When I'm watching a speed paint or whatever, I'm barely thinking. I might note like, oh yeah, fun line art. But for the most of it, I'm just watching it for entertainment. But I've seen some people really get something out of just watching the speed paints, pausing it at certain parts and being like, how did they do this? I'm going to steal that.
Honestly, when I was younger, I loved watching speed paints because, art.
Art.
But those were like the silent speedscapes. Jesus, that was hard to say. Speed paints that only have like music in the background that just goes like, that kind of speed paint. Those are fine, but where they talk.
Yeah.
Same here. Like when I was younger, I just loved the silent ones, but now I just like the talking ones where they especially explain what they're doing right now. Like if it's something they tried out, like a new technique, I want to hear that and steal.
Exactly. Like tell us how you did it so we can steal it. Gosh,
exactly.
darn it.
That's literally how art works, though. Yeah. See the pun. Art works.
God damn it. I mean, gosh frick it. There we go. Gosh darn it.
Gosh frick it.
Gosh frick it sounds like a Disney character, I've got to say.
Hello, my name is Gosh frick it. I'm your host.
Anyhow, is there anything else we would like to cover in this episode of Art Friends, which you should subscribe to? And follow on Spotify and the other platforms we're on.
Actually, there's one more thing that I want to cover. Right now, it's like summer holidays where I live. Like, they just started today.
Summer break?
Yeah, summer break. And I think, especially with like those lengthy tutorials where you normally wouldn't have the time for, do them now. Like,
do them now.
You have around 6 weeks of like free time, You can do those lengthy tutorials right now. What I also want to put in first make yourself a list of what you want to like learn in those 6 weeks, and then I don't know, put in like 2 weeks to learn one topic. For example, hey, I would love to be better at drawing clothes and hair. Then you depend 2 weeks on clothes and hair. Then you're like, landscapes would be a fun thing to do. Then you do like 2 weeks of landscapes. Obviously, you're not going to become a master in that time. But first off, you're going to get some, what's it called? Like when you do one thing and then you got some change. I know you didn't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot.
You get some change of pace, like you have one thing in the one week.
Some variation.
Yes. That's the word, right?
Variation. See, I did say it. Don't worry, guys. This segment was just edited in a very strange way. This is not actually how we talk. Cough, cough.
It's literally how we talk, Coen. Don't lie to them.
I always lie to them.
No. Yeah. Anyways,
I think that's a very good thing to do too. Like, find your weaknesses or like stuff you would just like to improve at. Set goals and then look for it. Like I most of the time get the most out of a tutorial when I'm actually looking for it. So I'll look up like how does metal work, and I type into YouTube how to metal. Then I watch a tutorial on how to render metal. I'm like, cool, I somewhat know how to do metal now. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot less useful to me when I'm just scrolling through Instagram and there's one tutorial that's like how to draw metal,
True. I get you. But also Coda, our beloved Coda, did a very nice thing where he like drew pictures every day for a week, like full-on illustrations. And he in the end realized like how much was missing. And I think that's also maybe not on topic, but a good thing to do while on summer break. If you don't go to holidays because whatever reason.
We'll do an episode on time management eventually.
Yes.
That's a very important one.
Especially if you're working with Outlater.
This might be a tangent, but I feel like it's fun to include in this episode. Please tell us in the comments what we need to talk about, because in every episode we're like, yeah, we should do an episode on this later. But when we have to record an episode, we're like, oh, okay, so what are we going to talk about? And then we think of a new topic that and then we're so many loose ends, basically. We have so many loose ends.
And I mean, we can shout you guys out because, like, you're helpful and nice to us.
This topic was requested by Raid Shadow.
No. What's your problem with Raid?
They sponsored everything. And
we just think like Coen isn't meaning this. He's just doing this as a joke, but he's actually getting like the money from Raid.
Yeah, I actually am. They're actually paying me. Haven't shared anything with the other two.
You're the most corrupt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have thought
corrupt Comer.
Oh, that's funny. I'm the most corrupt.
Yeah, I guess. Let's see.
Yeah, guys. I would love.
Actually, speaking of corrupt, what if someone makes a? This is a fun thing to talk about. What if someone makes an art tutorial with grave misinformation, or if someone, what if someone makes a tutorial like there's a bad tutorial and there's a misinformed tutorial, like a tutorial that teaches the wrong things,
How to draw a leg, draw a cow.
Exactly.
Oh, that would be such a funny April Fool's joke.
I guess there's no wrongs in art, but maybe it's
that reminds me. Quick side tangent. Remember when Coda asked us like for topic ideas or overall ideas for the podcast, and then you were like a full podcast, but all of the noises are changed with manatee noises or something like that, and he was
Something
like,
that.
you know what? There are stupid ideas. Well, not in the wording. He was more like, you know, about the stupid ideas thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think
Like-
this is a wrap, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple of more topics to talk about, but I'll discuss those in the comments or whatever.
Yes, if you want to hear more about it, I'm sorry, we're kind of in a short time schedule. Haha.
Haha. The file's corrupted for the episode that was gonna release today. Ew.
Wait, we just talked about corruption. Coen, what a genius.
What a fantastic transition. You can just edit the whole middle part out on that. That's great. But yeah, that's been this episode. I want to thank you all personally for watching.
Same here.
Just everyone in the comments say you're welcome, because we appreciate you watching our videos and listening to our podcast.
You just want more traffic on our videos.
Yeah, also that. Be sure to like our videos if you like them. Be sure to subscribe if you subscribe them, you know. Be sure to watch some other episodes if you if you want more, because we have a whole bunch more now. We can say that now.
We can finally say it. Jeez.
Yeah.
We're
After
now
all this time.
We're now the masters of the YouTube.
Yeah. We've done it.
We done did it. Thank you guys for watching Art Friends. I hope you like this episode, and don't eat your seatbelts.
Yes. Goodbye.